Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR HaLacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, 6th day of November, 28th day of CHESHVAN. Just to remind you that it's going to be Rosh Chodesh coming up on Thursday and Friday, starting Wednesday night. We'll tell you more about that as we get closer. We're continuing on with our laws about brachos and unusual foods and what the proper bracha on them is. Onion rings. So generally, most rabbis say that the proper bracha on onion rings is borei minei mizonos, because there's usually a thick batter on the outside of them, usually made of flour and things like that, and probably a lot of oil and stuff. And that makes it be like any mizonos product, and therefore the bracha is borei minei mizonos. If there actually is no flour in the onion ring at all, if you can ascertain that that's how it is made, there's no flour at all, then yeah, then it would be a borei pri hadama. Bracha on papaya. So Rabbi Yashiv was asked that question, and he said the proper bracha on papaya is borei pri hadama. Peanut butter. The bracha on peanut butter is shehako. And by the way, that is whether it's crunchy peanut butter or plain peanut butter. Still, the bracha is shehako. But of course, probably all of you know this one. If you have it on a cracker, the bracha is borei minei mizonos. If you have it as a peanut butter sandwich, then of course the bracha is hamotzi just on the sandwich, and that's it. Popcorn, kind of simple. The bracha on that is borei pri hadama. Potato chips, that's kind of simple. Borei pri hadama. That's pieces of potato. Potato kugel or latke, that's a little bit interesting. The bracha that most people say is borei pri hadama, but some potato kugels are blended down to the potato is blended down to like near liquid and no flour in anything or very little, very, very little. And in some cases like that, a potato kugel could actually have the bracha of shakol ni'ebidvaro. But generally, it's borei pri hadama. Pringles, famous argument on that one. I should tell you that Pringles are not made out of slices of potato chips like potato chips are. Rather, when they make Pringles, they grind down the potatoes into, I don't know exactly the procedure, but basically they pulverize it and dry it and something it and then press it back into those shapes so that you're not really looking or biting into a piece of potato. And that's why there's a hot debate about it. The Sefer called the Vizos HaBracha, he says that for that reason the bracha on Pringles is shehako, because it's not really a slice of a potato. But there are a lot of other opinions on it that put it back to Adama because potato is meant to be mashed and pulverized, and that's what people do with potatoes. So Rav Shlomo Zalman and Rabbi Yashiv both said that the proper bracha on Pringles is borei pri hadama. So you have a pretty big debate on that one. Raspberries. The Mishnah Berurah and the Shulchan Aruch call it a borei pri ha'etz. The Taz calls it a borei pri hadama. Because of this doubt, Rav Shlomo Zalman and Rabbi Yashiv both said safest thing to do is to call it a borei pri hadama, and that's how they settle the matter for raspberries. Rhubarbs, bet a lot of you don't eat them, but if you do, the bracha is borei pri hadama. Rice cakes, now this could surprise you. I think a lot of people out there make a borei minei mizonos on rice cakes, and Rabbi Yashiv did say that, but there are others like Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rav Scheinberg, and Rav Sternbach, who all said that the bracha, I don't think a lot of you have heard this, or not everybody, they say the proper bracha on a rice cake is borei pri hadama. So to summarize, there are two opinions on rice cakes, hadama or mizonos. Tomato juice, do you drink that? Well, if you do, the bracha is shehako. Sabras, if you ever eat them, the bracha is borei pri ha'etz. Strawberries, borei pri hadama. Stuffed cabbage. Now, stuffed cabbage is often made up of cabbage, meat, and rice. But they all come up together on the spoon, when you take a spoonful of it. And so it's most appropriate to make the bracha that's the majority ingredient in your stuffed cabbage. Vegetable salad with croutons, that's our last one for today. Best to make them borei minei mizonos and adama. And because it's a little questionable to make that borei minei mizonos on just a few croutons, safest to just make a bracha on some other mizonos item. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more.